Society live stream. This is a group of 5 libertarians at BYU. We have Michael Anderson with us.
Hello.
We have Justin, don't know his last name. We have Matt Grooms, Stephanie Anderson,
Howdy.
Woolley, and that's me. So today we're going to be talking about what is libertarianism to each of us, because we all kind of come from different philosophical and kind of why we, each of us, libertarianism. Let's start off with Justin. First of all, tell us a little bit of. Well, let's go through, talk about ourselves real quick, and just kind of where we come from, and then we'll go back through. Justin, tell us about yourself.
Okay.
What's your last name? I forgot it.
It's Lee. Yes. So my name is Justin Lee. I'm, as Trevor mentioned, I'm a student at BYU. My major is neuroscience, and I'm from Layton, Utah, so a local around here.
In your free time?
What's that?
Free time? Other than libertarianism.
I enjoy playing the guitar, listening to music, and longboarding.
We're here.
I just like to be
free. Awesome. Thanks, Justin. Glad to have you here. And Michael Anderson.
Hello, my name is Michael Anderson. I am a PhD student in mathematics here at Brigham Young University. And you said things that we do in our free time.
Libertarians.
Oh, what's that?
Other than libertarianism and math.
Other than libertarianism and math. Well, I play tuba and I make cheese.
All right.
That's Michael Anderson, everyone.
It's a unique group of libertarians.
Stephanie Anderson.
Stephanie Anderson, I'm Michael's little sister. I go to BYU and I am a freshman studying economics. I almost went into music dance theater, but I liked the idea of having a job after college. But I love musicals, I love singing, and I love figure skating, and my favorite thing in the whole world is like tap dancing. So I love tapping. So
thanks to have you here. Matt Grooms.
Howdy. I'm Matt Grooms, obviously. And in my free time, I love to, obviously, as a film student, I love to go to the movie theater at least twice a week.
I am so sorry to do this to you, Matt. But
yes.
Could you start from, hello, I'm Matt Grooms, and say that again?
I can. That's totally okay. Hello, my name is Matt Grooms. I am a film student at BYU, and in my abundance of free time as a film student, I obviously love to watch movies, and I enjoy reading books and going hiking. So yeah, that's me.
Sweet. Just make sure you talk into the mic.
Okay, trying my hardest.
The problem was not on his end.
Oh, it wasn't? Oh, okay, never mind.
I messed him up.
It's not my fault.
It's Michael's fault. Great.
this is why we need government.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm Trevor Woolley. I'm an econ student, BYU, senior, and double major with math. Plan to do a PhD afterwards, and in my free time, I like to work out, play music like the banjo and guitar, and I'm into metal music and folk music and everything in between. And I like to hike. That's it.
So
Yes, Justin and I have conversations about that. That's another podcast, though, that you can tune into. You know. Let's go back, I guess, in the same order, essentially, and just kind of explain what the definition of libertarianism is, because we'll probably all have slightly different answers, and kind of why you're a libertarian.
I think that I was the first one to go. Is that right?
I think.
I think I was.
Oh, okay.
But either
Go,
way,
Justin.
I don't mind. Yeah, sure. So libertarianism to me is, I guess, the attainment of freedom the attainment of maximum freedom for the individual, in as much as it does not, I guess, affect another person's rights or their freedom. And that's based on a few things for me. I think libertarianism, foundations of it in my mind is property rights, enforcement of contracts, free markets, and the principle of non-aggression. And these, I would say, these are the four main things that encompass what libertarian philosophy is to me. And I guess how I came to that is I've read some of Rothbard and the state, institution of the state very well. And when he says that government, or the institution of the state, whatever we want to call it, is simply an institution with a monopoly on the use of force in a certain geographical area. And to me, that of government, it seems to violate some of the fundamental principles of freedom, in which it is coercive, it completely violates the non-aggression principle, and it seems to meddle in the market more than it leave it alone. So libertarianism, I guess, summed up in just short words, would be the minimization of this institution of the state. And what I don't believe that the state is justifiable in its existence, but of course that's not a very pragmatic stance. But libertarianism is the goal of it is to maximize that freedom and to minimize the state's interference in the lives of others and things like that.
Justin and then Michael. Awesome. Thanks, Justin.
Okay. So
do you want to go, Michael?
Yes, I'll go. So to me, libertarianism is similar to what Justin has said. Is that libertarianism is the idea that functions that can be adequately performed without government should not be performed with government, or that basically, as much as possible, we would want to limit the scope of government. Now, different libertarians have different reasons for coming to this point of view. Some say that the government is inefficient and efficiency should be maximized, and others say that the government is immoral because the government has to use force to be able to get its taxation, and it does things without the consent of the governed. Even in a democracy, there's the minority that loses in a democracy that has the majority's will forced onto it. So I think that the most convincing libertarian argument that I saw came from Bastiat, which was the idea that the people in general have a right to defend themselves from fraud and from violence, and that the people can gather together and basically hire someone to defend these rights of property and life and liberty, and that the people that they hire are the government. So the government is always beholden to the people, ideally, and that because a person doesn't have a right to take other people's stuff or commit fraud, that they can't give that right to the government to act. And so whenever the government is acting in a way that is forcing someone using the power of government, that is violating the source of the government's power to begin with, which is the people. And the people don't have the power to violate each other, so the government doesn't have that power anyway. So that's that's my thoughts on what libertarianism is and where I fit in libertarianism.
Awesome. Stephanie.
My my what it is, like, to me it's pretty simple. It's like, let people be people, do whatever they want as long as they don't hurt anyone else. That's what libertarian means to me. But what really draws me to libertarianism is that actually my religion, because I'm Mormon, and the central part of Mormonism is agency, and using that agency to find happiness and to live a successful life on earth, and is that and I think this would be true for a lot of Christianity. I'm not sure of other religions like Islam or Judaism, but I know Mormonism. So I think that I believe that God gave us the agency to choose to live our lives how we want to on this earth, and God knows that some choices we make are wrong and some choices we make are excellent, and He knows that we have to be free to make those decisions, to fully experience, to learn what is good. And as we make poor decisions, we have natural consequences that come upon us, and we'll learn better to not make those and to become happier without any kind of force making us every single time. Like he believes that we can make it back to happiness without being lifeless drones, and that we all have our own potential and choices. And I think that is that on this earth and in our nations and mortal life, that to interact with our fellow humans in a similar way. Like, I feel like a lot of is like, we need government to ban all the wrong things from people because of moral obligation or whatever. But I don't think that that's necessarily what needs. I think that people sorry, I'm not very good at formulating thoughts, but this is what mirrors one of the most important things in my life. And I think that it is a successful way of making people happy and making our lives better. And I'm going to stop there before before I say anything that'll confuse myself.
No, good insight, Stephanie. Matt?
Matt is still muted.
I am no longer muted.
Okay.
So, to me, I try to come at libertarianism from a moral viewpoint, in that I hold the tenets that you don't hurt people and you don't take their stuff, because of the concept of self-ownership. And that's where the main tenets of libertarianism, as in market processes, the freed market, and bottom up, or bottom out rather, processes through ideas and other stuff. The market really is the fairest and most effective and efficient ways for things to happen. It allows people to make decisions for themselves, and it also matches up with the moral viewpoint of self-ownership, because there's no coercion there. People are doing what they want to, how they want to, in a way that they want to. And I think that is a very important way to come at things, especially in a world where a lot of the time people immediately come, when there's a problem, people immediately come to a viewpoint of oh, I need to force somebody to do this. Although they might not say I need to force somebody to do this, their immediate action is I need to make people, from vaccines to military and police, it all comes down to force and coercion. And I think morally, I can't support that as an individual who believes in self-ownership and the rights of the individual. And so from there, that's where I build out the rest of my viewpoint. But I think really at its center, libertarianism is very much about the rights of the individual, and everything else just kind of builds off of that. So
awesome. Totally agree. You all had awesome descriptions of libertarianism. To me, I think libertarianism is a social objective seeks to minimize coercion a little bit. Essentially, by being a libertarian, you state that you believe that society's focus should be to minimize coercion, and the opposite of coercion is liberty, opposite of liberty is coercion. Same. And the reason that I think, the reason why I subscribe to this philosophy, similarly as Matt said, kind of morally, essentially, I believe in the negative golden rule. But I believe in the negative golden rule that don't do unto others as you would not like them to do unto you. So kind of instead of being do unto others as others would have people do unto you, don't do unto others as you would have them not do unto you. Kind of a negative rights perspective. My reasoning for being libertarian is not focused on anti-government, as so many libertarians are. My focus is, I think, more society-based. I think that as a classical liberal, can be used to ultimately decrease coercion overall in a society. That's kind of the... So I don't... Like, I'm not libertarian because I'm anti-government, because government tends to encroach upon liberty and only increase coercion in society. Well, I don't think that of government or use of a coercive state is always bad. Used in order to ultimately minimize coercion. Michael, suggested earlier the use of kind of security guards in the state, or the minority has to be just a little bit under some type of democracy. Did people mention that kind of rung true with you, or didn't jive fully with you, or you want to discuss maybe something that I said or that Michael or whatever? What do you guys think?
You cut out for me a little bit at the beginning of that question. Could you restate it?
What kind of rung true with you guys, and what the other people have said so far, and what libertarianism is, and what things maybe didn't ring true? That, I guess.
I think it was interesting when you said you're a libertarian, but you're not necessarily anti-government, because a lot of minarchists and anarchists and the whole like less authoritarian side of the political spectrum is just so associated with like government is bad. And I mean, I admit, like, I've been that, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, being in an echo chamber is bad. Like, if you're only saying that because you read it on a Facebook comment thread and you're like, yeah, gosh dang government. And you're like, yeah,
taxation is theft.
No idea what you're talking about, but I'm still... I guess no one can answer this because we don't have any real world examples of a completely free nation, but back and forth. Like, I don't know if I'm a minarchist or an anarchist. Like, I don't know if I want some government or no government because I don't know what would really minimize that coercion and minimize the force and the unhappiness in people's lives. And so
Yeah.
I don't know what if it would be worth it to have a little bit of a
Yeah.
state or no
And
state at
that's
all.
Stephanie, that's exactly why I don't take a position like anarchism, because I don't know, and neither do you, and neither does anyone. We scientifically don't. This isn't like yet, right? So as long as we're all on the same page of wanting a society that minimizes coercion, so you could be an anarchist if that's honestly how you think that minimizing coercion in society would act, or you could be some type of communist, or I don't, whatever your ideal is. But if your main goal is to minimize coercion,
So I think oh my gosh, I just lost the thought. Someone else talk.
So we have some pretty outspoken anarchists in our group here. Justin is one of them, and I'm sure that in future podcasts we can get into the splitting hairs between minarchism and anarchism. What is, people that want the smallest state possible but no smaller, and people that want no government at all. They can, we can have some sort of debate or argument about that. But I think that I agree with Trevor that I'm willing to work with people who are willing to reduce coercion. And I think that when we get to a point that, all that's left of the government are maybe a police force and a court system, we can discuss what to do from there. But I'm willing to work with anarchists until that is, I'm willing to work with non-violent anarchists to reduce the role of government.
Antifa.
They are hardly anarchists.
Oh,
They're anarchists
They wish.
between their own ears.
Totally.
Well, I think. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go. I was just going to talk about Matt's comment about inherently, and I think most of us agree that kind of this is the social objective, and the foundation of that is our personal beliefs in morality. How do I interact with other people, right? And then therefore how I interact with other people is how I expect other people to interact with me. And so negative golden rule, and Matt mentioned just self-ownership as a foundational principle. I for the same reasons that I'm a libertarian with other people, sympathy, I also don't, me personally, I don't agree with hurting animals. I kind of extend that to anything that I can sympathize with. Lovers can be part of the liberty movement too, is what I guess I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to end with people. It could also extend to animals, to the environment, just minimizing coercion for all. I think that's kind of an interesting insight that I've recently adopted. On environmentalism later, but
yeah, and I think really what I like. To me, like when we're talking about libertarianism, all of us have within the term libertarianism, we all have different definitions of what that is and what we want that to be, but we all come together under one objective, and that's to reduce coercion as that fits into our own ideology. And I think it's I really like what you said there about environmentalism and leading that forward to more than just reducing coercion with individuals, but I think that I've definitely within myself tried to expand that past just okay. I see that I own myself. How does that change when I go to a different species? Do animals not own themselves? Do plants not own themselves? Does the environment as a whole not own itself? Where's that line drawn? And is it drawn? I think that's a super interesting concept that comes out from this very simple, basic concept of self-ownership and individuality and reducing coercion. So,
yeah, I think that's really cool stuff to think about. And let's even talk about maybe a little bit of what are things we want to discuss. We'd love to talk about with each other on future podcasts.
Oh, I think it would be really interesting to talk about drunk driving and sobriety. Illegal, and does that mean should it be illegal to be drunk, or should you need to be sober at all times? Because what if you do something else under the influence that we don't know? I just think it would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I think that the wider question of should government make safety laws would be an interesting thing to talk about, because basically drunk driving is a safety law. It's we think that you don't have the judgment or the reaction timing or whatever to do this task, so for your safety and the safety of others, we're going to make a law that says you can't do this.
Going to revolve around likely we all agree that the government shouldn't be in the business of protecting you from yourself, but hey, drunk driving has a lot of overlap with me too. You drunk driving interacts and potentially puts a threat to me, so that's super relevant ground for a libertarian discussion. Safety laws. I'm going to write these down.
Thank you.
And it would also be an interesting topic, in my opinion.
What's that?
What?
First state?
First state or just the welfare state?
The relationship between them, I guess. Especially with like refugees going to Northern European countries. And
that's a good relevant topic too. Stephanie's got some good insights here. Any others? I think that we could talk about do animals have rights? Environmentalism, that would be interesting to me.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
How about we do all three of those in the next episode, next week?
Woo!
Safety laws, refugees, animal rights.
Yeah. Shouldn't take too long.
So, so each of us will prepare our thoughts on the thing, and then we'll take each question, say our own thoughts, debate for a little bit, and move on to the next topic.
Great.
I like it.
I like it. All in favor say aye.
Sure. Yes, aye.
Aye.
Topics next week.
I see everyone lit up, so sweet. Should we end it there then? Is that about? Yep. Well then, I don't know how to take us out of the conversation necessarily, but I will signal off and say thank you to anyone listening. 4, 3, 2, 1.